Sonic Heroes was supposed to be the calm after the storm, the return to form after the spectacular Sonic Adventure 2. And was it? Well, sadly, I was very disappointed with Sonic Heroes. After hearing so many good things about it, I was expecting a great time. While I did have some fun in this game, mostly I did have a negative experience with it in general. This is going to be a shorter review. But enough of this intro, let's get to the review. To understand the premise of this game, we gotta look at the environment of how it was made. Sonic Adventure 2, in all ways, is a finale, just like how Ratchet 3 was for its series. Luckily, both moved on, but the point of these games were to wrap it up just in case it didn't keep going along. As I'm sure all of you know, at this time Sega stopped being a hardware manufacturer and only started producing software, meaning that they could release Sonic games for every console out there, including the new incoming Xbox. This is a good segue to state that I played this game through a GameCube emulator, but with Nintendo now prioritizing family-friendly content rather than the new dark and edgy wave that encroached nearly everything in the 2000s, Sega thought return to form while keeping it 3D was a good idea. Thus, they made Sonic Heroes, in many ways returning to what made the series famous. And while we're here, this is obviously in many ways Sonic Adventure 3. The story is split between multiple playstyles, characters, and storylines. So let's go over them. Team Sonic are given a letter that Eggman will invade in 3 days. That's it, story done. Then Team Dark. Rouge discovers Shadow in one of Eggman's bases, alongside one of his creations, Omega. Omega discovers that his talents were being wasted for having to look after a comatose hedgehog. He then vows to destroy all of Eggman. Rouge then promises that too for locking Shadow up. They set out and beat Eggman. Alright, spoiler alert, everybody beats Eggman in the end. Anyway, Team Rose, consisting of Amy, Cream the Rabbit, who was originally created for Sonic Advance 2, and also the returning Big the Cat from Sonic Adventure. They all realize that they're looking for someone, and thus they set out for their quest, and end up finding Sonic, Chocola, and Soggy by the end. Then finally, it's a real deep cut at this point in time. Team Chaotix returning from Knuckles Chaotix, which was the first huge flop in the series. Rather than returning, but reimagined for this game, thus making the 32X game non-canon. I'll get to the game eventually alongside Sonic CD and the Game Gear and Master System games, but I don't know when. They are now a detective agency not being able to pay the bills and get a call for some money. Their policy is to not turn down any job that pays, which makes you wonder if you could hire them even if the job only pays, let's say, $1. Anyway, their story ends with them freeing their client, who is Eggman. And it turns out he ain't got no money to pay them until he conquers the world. Which is funny considering the fact that he has an army large enough to take over countries and at least some money to pay the bills in Shadow's chamber. But this makes you wonder, who is the antagonist of this game? For those of you who have played the aforementioned Chaotix or CD, will recognize these eyes in the opening cinematic. Metal Sonic makes a triumphant return to the series. This finally being the first game in the series, pretty sure, that Eggman isn't even an antagonist. It's only Metal Sonic. Adventure 1 was the first game that he wasn't the final boss, but here, he's just a joke. Metal Sonic is the one who set all of these characters in motion. Metal Sonic absorbed the data and energy from everyone in the story, including Froggy, which if you don't remember has chaos power within because he was part of chaos for a wet minute. So he turns into Metal Madness, or Metal Overlord, or Neo Metal Sonic, or Metal Cool, I don't really fucking know anymore, man. Sonic goes super and gives his teammates some super bubbles. Boring! Then they win, and yep, that's it. Really, the story is in many ways just like the Genesis title, but in others it has some nuance, like the reintroduction of Team Chaotix, most of Team Dark, and Metal Sonic just being a complete badass. But before I go into the dreaded gameplay, let's discuss some other topics, mainly visuals and audios. Is that even a word? I don't even know if that's a word. This game visually looks like a Nintendo game, as if it was running off some worsened Mario Sunshine engine. The plastic looking models aren't my style, but I do really like the colors. The environments are very saturated and diverse with very distinct color palettes. So it's a give and a take, which then leads to preference, and my preference is that I like texture, so I'll take Adventure 2 visuals any day of the week. And also music. Again, another banger from Team Sonic. Some great OSTs in here. I prefer this over Adventure 1, but not Adventure 2. So there's my thoughts on that. And yeah, time for gameplay. Spoiler alert, I didn't beat this game. I couldn't bring myself to waste my time. Sonic Heroes has 3 main issues: unpolished, loose, and tedious. But before that, I want to talk about the structure and good things this game does. Like I said, this game is divided into 4 playthroughs, with each being slightly different from one another. Sonic is standard mode, Dark is hard, Rose is easy, and Chaotix is funky. The difficulties are changed through enemy health, stage length, and objectives. Team Dark has higher health enemies alongside longer levels sometimes, and Rose has shorter levels with it just being easier overall. This is my preferred style if I were to revisit this game. Then there is Chaotix. Many people just hate this game for Chaotix alone, because they don't have levels, they have missions, such as collecting X amount of items or beating X amount of enemies, if not all of them. They are a zany choice because of it. Many people hate it, but this brings up the whole ass alligator in the room. How does this game play? Well, it may seem overwhelming, but this game does technically have 12 characters, but really it's 3. You simultaneously have to play 3 characters that each fits into these archetypes: speed, flight, and power. Sonic, Shadow, Amy, and Espio the Chameleon are all the speed characters, with slight differences between Amy and Espio. They all have a homing attack along with a new move, Rocket Excel, which many people shit on for replacing the spin dash, but I think it fits for this kind of game. It's really just a quick dash that is faster if all of your party members are behind you. So again, I enjoy it. Additionally, because this game focuses on combat, there is an air tornado, and also the returning lightspeed dash for Sonic and Shadow. And then there's also a wall jump excluding Amy, and Espio can stick to the wall indefinitely because he is a ninja. And Amy has some weird hammer moves, so that's the speed, your most used character. But my least used character was Flight. But before we talk about the Flight character, we gotta discuss how you change characters. In Heroes, you have 4 face buttons. One for jump, one is the action button, and the other 2 are for switching characters. One forward and one back. Now, one of my biggest questions about this game before playing it was how you changed. I wondered if you switched to the other characters like the Lego games, or if the characters all switched in the same place. So the characters all switch in the same place, but you cannot change midair. That single lack of a mechanic makes this game far less fluid. If you could have switched midair, honestly, I might have enjoyed this game more than not enjoy it. And even then, if your teammates are injured, you can't switch. And even if you take momentum from the speed and try to switch the fight, the way the players assemble oftentimes stops momentum, and this is just stupid. Anyway, the flights in this game is dog shit. Barely has any horizontal movement and basically only goes up. But weirdly, this game has some invisible blocks that stop you from actually going up, which is just so fucking stupid. You can barely even last in the air. You drop like a rock. It's just dog shit in general. And the only attack you have is the Thunder Shoot, which stuns enemies midair unless you're leveled up. And yes, literally, there are levels to this shit. Throughout the levels, you'll see color coordinated orbs, each coordinated to the type of character you can level up to the max of 3. Each level may increase damage, allow for a new move, and so on. In general, I think it's a stupid system because it's so useless in general, it shouldn't have been included. Then, this leaves the final character, the power character, my personal favorite. They hit hard and they go fast, but not so fast you can't control, and they have a lot of oomph in their attacks. And then also a useless guide that again has no horizontal movement. I don't understand this inclusion. You already have a character devoted to flight, so this actually bothers me. Anyway, they have grounded combos that just make you go flying around everywhere, and an air dunk that is fantastic. And finally, there's something called a Team Blast. It's exactly how it sounds. If you've played Mega Man X7 or 8, then you know what I'm talking about. It's just a screen wipe. Simple. But one last thing before I give you guys all my issues, the levels in this game are like the Genesis titles. They're basically 7 zones each with 2 acts. I say basically because they're treated like an entire new area, but it's the same environment with maybe a different gimmick, but overall still Act 2. And also there are returning special stages, which are again, meh. Just grab orbs so you can boost and avoid bombs. This is just so stupid because you'll get hit for reasons out of your control all the time. And also because the first biggest issue with this game, the length. The game takes fucking forever. You play through the entire game, not twice, not 3 times, shit, probably not even 4, but closer to 5 times for the amount of times you'll die or restart the entire level in general. And that's not even counting chaotic's backtracking. You're gonna end up knowing these stages like a crack in your ass and still slip up because the game is just that clumsy. These stages often took me around 7 to 10 minutes, and that was a run that I just didn't die. It took me 4 streams that each took multiple hours just to beat Team Sonic. I couldn't imagine playing through this game on hard mode. Like, I don't have that fucking time, man. But I think the biggest problem in this game are the bugs and the lack of polish. I can't tell you how many times I got hit when it wasn't my fault. One time I even got hit mid-team blast. Like, what the fuck? And then you know the tornado move that's required to kill certain enemies? Well, I've been hit, then ringed out because I hit them with that move. I get hit for so many stupid reasons over and over and over. So the absolute bullshit I had to go through. And if you're curious, just go check out the streams. This shit was awful. Especially the Final Fortress. That is going to be one of the worst levels I have ever played. The only levels I found enjoyable were the Ocean Palace levels and Frog Forest levels. Everything else was just tedious, especially because they oftentimes focus on rail grinding, which is just busted in this game. Gone are the days where if you have skill, you go fast. But now you just press the action button again and again and again. And the casino levels are doggy doo-doo. Power plant levels were alright and then annoying at other times. Rail canyon levels I thought were going to be really fun, but ended up being so broken. I can't tell you how many times I tried to switch rails and die, or somehow started going backwards. I'm probably not doing my best showing you guys the most offensive clips, and that's because I'm lazy and don't have time to sit through 6 hours worth of footage to find myself dying. And that's really sad. I was expecting a great time with this game. I wanted to love this game. I tried to overlook the issues and just thought it was my fault. But man, it's just broken. Trust me, I want to love everything I play, but sadly not all games are created equal. And the bosses are absolute poop. Many of them are just bloody palace waves of cat piss. And have I even discussed the combat? I don't even want to talk about the combat. But they focus far too much on this. On top of the game's kink with bottomless pits? Actually, I don't blame them. And yeah, I know I'm not very good at Sonic games. I'm far better at conventional platformers and especially fighting games, but it is impossible to control Sonic in levels such as Bullet Station or attacking with Knuckles in the haunted boss. I don't think I can properly portray my distaste for this game. It was insufferable. It's the second worst game I've played on this channel. Don't worry about the first, because that game probably cost less than $1,000 to make. I'm sorry, I just can't like this game. I just can't. I know I made many of you mad or upset with me because you love this game. And good for you. I'm not trying to take that away from you. Anyway, with all that being put aside, I hope you guys stay tuned for my next video where I actually take down Sonic the Hedgehog. And as you can see, I've already beaten the game on neutral, evil, and good. But fear not, I actually prefer the game a lot more than Heroes, funny enough. But one last thing. If you guys go over to my community tab, maybe if you guys watch this one in a few weeks, there might be a few other options, but if you guys watch this in a few years, then it's definitely going to be a lot of options. But if you just scroll down, you should see, at least soon enough, my new poll, which series I should do a retrospective on once I'm done with Sonic Colors, Jak and Daxter, Rayman, and Capcom. And if you guys have any other thoughts of a series that has 5 or less titles, comment it down below, and if it has more likes than maybe some of these votes, maybe I'll give it a thought. So that's it. That's all I really have for today. Catch you guys next time. Peace.